This is my knockoff cooking treat tutorial for my koi pond mousse cake. I poured way too many hours of my life into this, so I hope you enjoy. Starting with the nerikiri, you'll need sweet white bean paste, sweet rice flour, and a little bit of water. Nerikiri is a Japanese confectionery that I use to make the koi and other decorations. To the rice flour, add a tablespoon of water at a time, mixing until you reach a melty ice cream consistency, for lack of a better descriptive phrase. In total, I used around 2 tablespoons of water. In a saucepan, add your sweet white bean paste and rice flour mixture. Mix until well combined to form a thick paste. Transfer to a stovetop at low heat, kneading constantly with a spatula until no longer sticky and it forms into a soft dough. At this point, the dough should still be warm. Knead until smooth. Cover it in plastic wrap and let rest until completely cool. And this is the finished nerikiri dough. Section it off into individual portions to be colored. Make sure to cover the pieces you're not using with plastic wrap to keep them from drying out. I'm using gel coloring because that's what I have, but powdered color would also work well. These are the colors I used for my original koi cake, but they can be customized however you'd like. Starting with the lily pads, roll out a small portion of the green dough and flatten it between 2 sheets of parchment paper. Carefully cut out a small wedge from the circle, and that's a lily pad. I like to make a few extra of various sizes, so I have a selection to choose from when I decorate. Now for the lilies, roll out a strip of colored dough. I used pink and flatten it into a long sheet. Past this point, there really isn't a set technique. I'm really just BSing it too. But I like to trim off the top and bottom and section it across the center to kind of even it out. Cut out each individual petal of the flower. The general shape should be tapered at the ends. To shape the petals, use a needlepoint tool to make an indent down the center, then pinch together each end. This is a really tedious process, and honestly, this entire cake is just a huge inconvenience. You only really need maybe 20 petals or so to make a decent flower, but extras can't hurt. To assemble the flower, combine the petals by pressing them together at one end. I like to start with 5 petals in the center and then work my way out. The size of the petals don't have to be too consistent, but typically petals on the outside should be longer than the ones in the center. Once you're happy with your flower, cut off the bottom and attach it to a lily pad. With the remaining green dough, flatten it out and cut out the leaves for the cattails. The process is the same as the petals, just a little bigger in size. Next, for the koi fish, use white nerikiri dough to form the body. The general shape is a bit curved with a wider head and a thinner tail. For the pattern on the koi, break off small pieces of colored dough. Here I use orange. Gently press them onto the body where you want the patterns to be. Use a needlepoint tool to spread the colored dough into irregular shapes to mimic the iconic color patterns of a koi fish. Here I'm doing the same, just with black dough. Don't be disheartened if it looks weird in the beginning, just trust the process. For the tail and fins, flatten a small piece of white dough and cut out the desired shape. Attach them onto the body with the needlepoint tool. I completely forgot to add the dorsal fins on these koi, so if you want anatomically correct fish, add a small fin on the top of the koi as well. For the eyes, I use black sesame seeds, but you can also use the black nerikiri dough. For a 6-inch cake, typically I make 3 koi fish. For the rest of the decorations, combine what's left of the white dough with a little bit of black at a time to form different shades of gray. Then roll out various sizes of pebbles and rocks to lay at the bottom of the pond. For the cattails, color the remaining plain nerikiri dough brown. Roll out thin pieces of dough and attach them to small bamboo skewers. These are the basic elements of the koi cake, but you can make practically any decorations you'd like with the nerikiri dough. Onto the mousse cake, you'll need milk, egg yolks, sugar, gelatin, and white chocolate for the custard. You'll also need heavy cream, powdered sugar, and vanilla extract for the base. Add a few tablespoons of milk to the gelatin, mixing until completely saturated. Set aside to bloom, and in a saucepan, add in your egg yolks, sugar, and remaining milk. Mix well and transfer to a stovetop at low heat, stirring constantly until the custard thickens up. If you're using a bar of white chocolate like I am, roughly chop it up on preferably a more stable cutting board than mine and add it to the custard while still warm. Also add in the bloomed gelatin and mix until melted and smooth. Transfer to a separate bowl and cover with plastic wrap. In the bowl of a stand mixer, add in your heavy cream. Whip the cream at low to medium speed for about 4 minutes. Once the cream just begins to thicken, add in the powdered sugar and vanilla extract. The consistency we're looking for is whipped but still a bit runny, just before it hits soft peaks. Add the custard into the whipped cream and fold until well combined. Split the mousse evenly into 2 separate containers, and at this point, if it becomes too thick to work with, you can microwave it for 15 seconds at a time. Color 1/2 blue using gel or powdered coloring. "12 minutes into the video and we're finally at the cake portion of the cake. For the base, use a layer of your favorite cake. I used chiffon cake that I colored gray. To keep it neat, I'm lining the outside with a sheet of acetate and securing with a ring mold. Pour in the first layer of mousse and refrigerate until completely set. Then do the same with the second layer of blue mousse. For the jelly layer, I actually use lychee coconut jelly cups. They taste way better than agar powder, although it's a pain to open each one. In total, I used approximately 25. Microwave in 30-second intervals until completely melted. The brand I used has cubes of coconut jelly inside that I took out after melting. Add gel coloring and mix well. And finally, for my favorite part, assembly and decoration. For my base layer, I placed the pebbles along with 1 koi fish. Once you're happy with the layout, pour in half of the jelly for the first layer. Once it's set, place the remaining koi fish followed by the second layer of jelly. To finish, top it off with the lilies, lily pads, and cattails. And that was the full, far too complicated process of making this cake. Is it worth it? I'm not sure, I'm numb at this point, but please let me know what other tutorials you might like to see. This was kind of painful to film on my $10 tripod and iPhone, and also the footage in this video is from 2 separate attempts to film, so that's why the cakes don't look exactly the same. But all that aside, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you here again.